Hello everyone and welcome to another mechanical analysis. Today we've got a replay from ZombieGrub. She plays for StarCraft2Strategy.com's pro team, semi-pro team, whatever you want to call them. Someone had mentioned, why don't you do any Terran anymore? So I specifically requested a high-level Terran replay to go over. And what we'll be doing is the same thing that we normally do. We're going to get into the zombie cam. And we're going to be looking at her mistakes and her successes, and we're going to see the things that we can learn from them as much as possible, mostly in the world of mechanics and efficient play. So it looks like she's got some cameras set up that she was jumping back and forth between. Smart camera pan does not allow me to see what it actually looks like from her point of view, unfortunately, but she's going to do the rally out. Yeah, and that has actually timed out really well. The supply depot came down right at 100. It was actually really closely timed out. That was pretty phenomenal. It looked like it was going to be late, but it wasn't late at all. It was exactly on time. So we do have the worker pairing going on. Yeah, grabbing those worker pairing and taking the closest patches possible. Going for that. Barracks on 12, as is normal, and continuing to get out those SCVs. A little bit of gap in SCV production. I don't know if that was avoidable or not. Very difficult. Looks like she just played this player recently. And we get a glimpse of the control group setup. This is a TVZ. No scout getting thrown out just yet. Maybe we'll have a scout after the barracks, but for right now we're playing in the dark. We do have a command center control group, barracks control group, and we have an SCV control group, which is likely going to be the scout.
SCV ready.
Keeping tabs on anything. Waiting for this. Now the reason why we're not building an SCV right now is because this is about to finish and we're going to build our orbital command. You might think, oh, well, I'll just build one more SCV and wait for that to finish and then get my orbital command. The advantage of getting the orbital command up as soon as possible is so strong because, first of all, it's passively generating power because it's generating energy that can be scans or mules. And second of all, it'll get that mule in right away. And we want to get the mule down as soon as possible because that's a lot of minerals. And it's going to kickstart our economy. As a Terran player, we have to spend a lot more minerals on structures than normal because of the lost mining time that it takes for that SCV to build the building. That entire time, the SCV is not mining minerals. Unlike where Protoss, where you could just build the building and walk away and go back and mine. So there is that hidden cost in the Terrans where they must pay a little bit of extra minerals for everything.
Upgrade complete.
And we're going to see some usual one barracks into expand, maybe with a bunker in front, maybe not. But so far it looks like, yeah, adding that new command center in right away so we can keep tabs on it whenever we're building SCVs. And we actually have two control groups, one for this SCV and then one for this one. Looks like we're having a little bit more of a fluid control group system, not like, I use this one for my scouting SCV. Sort of having a couple of control groups there, throwing down double gas. Wow, actually that was an insanely fast grabbing of the gas. I want to look at that again. Alright, let's slow it down.
Go, go, go.
And notice how she's always grabbing the SCVs that don't have any minerals. This is especially this is helpful in all races, but especially in Terran because it's going to be 30 seconds where you don't have these minerals. So it's going to slow things down, especially in a high level game like this, where every little second counts and every little niche is important.
SCV ready.
Alright, let's go to faster speed. And lot of jumping back and forth to keep things in mind. And again, look at that timing. That's actually a pretty nice timing. We minimized a lot of the wait time on these two refineries. Could have been slightly better. There was a little bit of wait time where the SCV was waiting to get in, but really well done overall. We aren't doubled up on the closer patch, which is this one right now. Very, very small in efficiency. For the most part, we're playing very efficiently. And start to see how that carries into the late game. Going to be building a factory. And looks like a reactor Hellion. I love this barracks placement. Barracks. I love this bunker placement because it allows for not as much surface area in the bunker. And it also makes a sort of wall in where it's like, okay, well, they have to go all the way around here, and if they come in here, they're stuck. Zerglings won't be able to run circles around our command center when we have this blocked off, which is very nice. Builds the SCV and drops the mule right away. Actually going to add the supply depot here to make even less surface area on the bunker. So nice little area. A lot of people like to opt for the wall in the front, but she's going to start with a little bit of a wall over here and then move on to make the wall over in the choke. So pretty cool stuff overall. And yeah, so we're gonna have the control group set up where we have one control group for all the barracks, one for the factories, one for the starports, one for the command centers. So we have 4 macro control groups. This means that we're cutting into the cutting into how quickly and efficiently we could get to those control groups in macro, because they're going to be further away than if we were using 2. It looks like this is a standard setup. It's really looking like she's using the standard hotkeys, because this will be 1, 2, 3 for army and then 4 for macro.
I'm in a heap of trouble. Ready to raise some hell.
So the Hellions are beginning to come out, and we've got a control group for them.
SCV ready.
We got that deep all wall up in the front. So really cool building placement stuff.
Add-on complete.
We even have the Marine over here patrolling in for any sort of overlord to block the scouting, which is nice. Getting that command center up. And just like that, just as a habit, the orbital command is already in the control group. That's a lot of something I like to stress to the Stuff League players, is always get in the habit of putting your units and your buildings into their control groups right away. Cool. So you can see that the Hellions and the Banshee have their separate control groups, which is really nice. She'll be able to jump to them whenever she wants. One small inefficiency here. So instead of clicking on the engineering bay and upgrading, clicking on the engineering bay and upgrading, what I like to do is have the orbital commands and the engineering bays in the same control group. So that way all I have to do is tab over and get my 2 upgrades, and I'll be reminded of, for instance, dropping mules right now when I'm doing that. So I can be a little bit more on top of my economy, and it's actually less actions to upgrade than before. Also, you don't need to select each engineering bay individually if they're both selected, and you press, in this case, GR, but if you press your 2 buttons for attack and defense, they will separate. They will go to the 2 separate ones as long as you have 2 of them selected. And that applies for evolution chambers, forges, and all that as well. So, tiny little bit of inefficiency there, but for the most part, playing really spot on. Seeing some lings. Controlling. Alright, so we controlling. We jumped back here. Didn't drop the mule just yet. And we didn't have a whole lot of checking our production while we were microing that. That is definitely one of the more difficult skills to develop, but it's definitely one of the things that we could be doing. Our money is getting sort of high, and we could be producing from these 3 structures right now, but we weren't macroing while we were microing. Let's see if that was intentional or not. We can keep going. Right. Alright, so we come back home, and we look at the upgrades and the structures and build out of them, and then we come back here and we look at the Hellions. Had we had our tech labs in our second macro control group, as well as our factories and barracks and all that, as she has them here, we could very easily use the hotkeys to do everything that we just did. Coming back to the base didn't actually need to happen. There was no reason why we had to go back to the base. Everything that we did here at the base and all the information we gained from looking at the base, we could have gained from tapping through our hotkeys. And if we did have the 2 macro control group, it would take 2 key presses to know all the information that we needed to know, and then a couple of more to make sure that we were building SCVs and tanks and getting our siege tank upgrade and stuff like that. And it does look like we have the control group over here on the engineering base. I want to double check actually to make sure to see how long that's been up. Yeah, so it looks like this control group is set up with the engineering base, but before she upgrades, she actually clicks on each of these, so she doesn't use her control group for the upgrades to actually execute the upgrades, it looks like. So we're going to have selected what she has selected. Yeah, so you can see those 2 clicks. She clicks those individually. A little bit of small inefficiencies here and there. And that's the kind of that's pretty much the only stuff that we're going to find when we're doing these kind of high-level mechanical analyses, because most of the high-level players are very aware that the mechanics are a very important part of the game. And again, we do this jump back over here where we're looking at this area, and again, no information that we can take from this area by looking at it that we can't just take by doing our tap and making sure everything else is going on. And that would allow us to have a little bit better control of our Hellions, because we're looking at them the whole time. We don't have to go back and look at our production. We can check our production while having our Hellions on the main screen. Cool, so we're gonna get lots of fantastic kills over here. Oh man, wow, she gets out.
I'm in a heap of trouble. Ready to go.
Was there a mule that was just dropped or no? Yeah, so I think we're gonna. This is probably the big habit from ZombieGrub that we're seeing, is looking at all of the production when we don't need to. So you can create reactors and build out of all these structures and get your upgrades if you have them in your control groups, which mostly she does. She just doesn't have the tech labs in here, and that can be very easy. Just add, if she's going to keep this kind of a setup with 4 macro control groups, just add the tech labs, the barracks tech labs to the barracks, the factory tech lab to the factory, and the starport tech lab to the starport. The one issue with this is when you have them spread out, you can be swapping tech labs, and it will remain in the control group that you set in. So say we built the tech lab with the barracks and we moved over to the factory, it'll still be in the barracks group control group. That's why another reason why I really like using 2 macro control groups instead of 4. But yeah, so it looks like we're gonna escape with a couple of our Hellions. Managed to thread the needle on that one, so let's get back into the game.
I'm in a heap of trouble.
Upgrade.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like she's not shift clicking back on the supply depot, so very likely using the idle worker trick. Let's we'll see when those finish up how that's going. And actually, this particular thing that we're looking at right now has been debated a little bit. I think if you have the orbital command built, that you should drop the mule immediately. Some people will disagree in certain situations. Maybe some people have said to me that you want to drop the mule in the newest expansions. That way you don't mine out your main too quickly or your natural too quickly. This might be what ZombieGrub is doing. But I think in general, it's better to get that mule down faster, to get that boost of minerals earlier. So we could have had at this point 9 energy earlier, and by the time it's down it'll be even longer. So we could have had that money a little bit earlier and pushed us into a stronger position maybe. Okay, and let's continue on.
Add-on complete. Research.
Okay, we do have a pretty good gas to mineral ratio right now. And
Add-on
preparing
complete.
for the attack, lift off, cancel, and all that good stuff. And actually, in this particular situation, look again, we still weren't able to drop this mule. So that's more economy that we're missing out on. So yeah, I definitely suggest most of the time go ahead and build, drop that mule once the orbital command is finished building. So I'm going to try to rebuild and take that. I don't know if ZombieGrub is saving up for scans right now. I'm seeing a lot of energy on the orbital commands. So might be just not really important to her right now in what she's doing.
Base is under attack.
Also, probably just want to drop mules over here because it's not a very safe place. If you're dropping mules, it's going to move out. And you start to see we definitely have a one control group syndrome going on. Siege tanks, Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs all in the same control group. We'll see if it's beneficial for her to be having the siege tanks in their own control group, depending on the way this game plays out. But I do think in general having a separate control group for siege tanks can be very nice and can help your control a lot. They are sort of a spellcaster in my eyes, just because of the importance of when they're sieged and not, and the positioning of them can win and lose you battles. So this armory came in a little bit late, so we weren't able to get our +2/+2 right on time. And actually we don't have enough minerals for it in any case, so a little bit of an issue. Maybe definitely, actually, look at all these mules that we have here. Were we dropping mules on time? There's at least 4 mules, I think. Yeah, 4 mules in the bank right now. Were we dropping mules on time, we would absolutely have enough money to get these upgrades right away, and maybe even another upgrade over here and drop that money. So,
Armed and ready.
and the mule hammer falls, but not completely. We still have mules to be dropped over here and over here. So I think, I'm going to go check that. I think that she clicked on the orbital command to drop the mules instead of using the control group. I think. Let's put it in slow-mo, also known as normal. And look at the selection.
Go, go, go.
I want to see the mule drop in just a bit. No, so we do have all of the orbital commands selected. And she's going to drop mules, but not all of them. She's only going to drop 4 mules out of the 6, I believe, that were available. The other thing you can do to increase efficiency, especially on a mule, is click individual patches on the mules instead of muling all in the same minerals, because it takes a little while for the mules to spread out onto all of their mineral patches. And actually, if you do your research, there are certain mineral patches that you want to mule and certain mineral patches that you don't want to mule, because the mule will die if you, on certain mineral patches, the mule will die halfway in between and never return that cargo of minerals. So definitely want to drop all your mules and spread them out onto the proper patches, onto the patches that you want them to be mining on. So a little bit more control in that.
SCV ready.
Yeah, so she might be just saving that for scans. I definitely, the more I'm looking at this, the more I think she's saving, she's just keeping some scans in the bank. Should she need them for any reason, spreading out creep or dealing with any sort of burrowing issue. That would definitely be my guess. I haven't had the chance to talk to her one-on-one about this game, but it would definitely be my guess that we're just keeping a couple scans in the bank to be safe. Really nice catch, really nice catch. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about, which is mini-map awareness. People sort of understand that it's important, but little things like this, Zombie noticed that she was spotted by an overlord. And whenever you notice you're spotted by an overlord, you don't want to go just flying in here. But you can at least kill the overlord. And maybe you still be able to get your drop off with some reverse psychology action. But kill the overlord. It's there. It spotted you. The jig is up. You're not going to be able to sneak in there. They're likely going to be waiting for you and reacting if they're playing well. Yeah, and look at that. The spore crawler is already on the way. So gonna go ahead and take that out. Really nice moves. And that's the other thing too. What we just saw is a very small thing that I want to point out for all you stuff figures out there. She dropped the Marines and attacked the Overlord. As soon as the attack command on the Overlord was issued, she went back to her base to continue the other stuff that she was doing. She moved on right away to the next step, and that really is one of the secrets of APM. Not necessarily that you're super fast with your hands, but that as soon as you do the minimum necessary to accomplish a task, you move on to the next task. She doesn't wait to make sure the Overlord's going to die. She assumes the Overlord is going to die and keeps an eye on her mini-map just in case something is up. Building up our wall.
We could use some help here.
And yeah, just like that, watching her mini-map, doesn't lose anything, gets to kill the Overlord. Doing a little bit of scouting with that Hellion and the creep. Actually takes out a creep tumor while it's on the mini-map like that. Looks like she's going to lose it to some Zerglings. But, cool stuff. It does look like she's using some camera keys. So she's jumping around pretty quickly, but she might be just very fast with the mini-map. A lot of higher level players are just very, very fast with looking at the mini-map. Cool, I'm going to pull this drop back just in time. Ooh. Let's look at that. Small little thing. Look at that. Alright, here we go. Back into normal mode. She's about to build something. She's going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 workers, and she's going to build 1 factory. She's then going to shift click, because as all good Terrans do, she's going to shift click. And what's going to happen is, I'm going to unlock the camera, is all of these workers that just got selected are now, after they're done whatever they're doing, going to go to this mineral patch. And that does a couple of things. It has extra time for this worker to go all the way over here, and it also messes up the balance of the workers at the base. You want, ideally, 2 at each mineral field. But if you do this often, it's going to offset it, and it's going to take a while for these SCVs to settle in to getting into 2 per mineral patch, and sometimes they'll get into 3 per mineral patch at one area and only 1 at another area if you have a 16 saturation, which I don't think we have. Yeah, so we're a little bit undersaturated over here. But doing this is costing us mining time every time we do it. If we have 1 building to build, just click on 1 SCV and build the 1 building and pull it back. Luckily in this instance, she didn't build with an SCV that was holding any minerals, because that would be a further deficiency. But definitely, if you're going to build 1 building, try to select 1 SCV. If you're going to build 3 buildings, try to select 3 SCVs. Definitely is the most efficient way to do it, although it may be quite difficult. Cool, we're going to clear out some creep. Pick up before it's too late. Oh no! And unload. That's actually one of the more difficult things, is letting it go sometimes. But as a reflex, she has learned to unload if she knows a medevac is going to die, and she's pretty on top of that. So good stuff here. Dropping some add-ons. Doing a little drop in the base. And Visionist Watchtower has been so helpful. She knows that the army is distracted right now and going over there. Something that's sort of interesting is that she's doing this drop. She's doing this drop and pulling her enemy's forces over here, but it looks like that's where she's going. I mean, I guess she's turning the corner and she's going to go over here. But I feel like ideally these kind of drops would put the opponent's army out of position rather than bringing them right to where you are. But maybe she just feels that she wants to force a head-on conflict. We'll see how that works out for her. But using the high ground very nicely, clearing out the creep tumors and all that. Again, I'm pretty sure she clicked both of these individually.
Who wants some?
Add-on complete.
Ready for
Additional
dust
supply.
Armed and ready.
Add-on complete.
Boom, baby.
Yeah, these were individually clicked, and not using the control group. The control group set up, so she definitely has a means to use it. Maybe she's using it for checking. I haven't noticed her use this control group yet, but definitely moving this control group to something that's closer than 0 will help to utilize that control group more. So that way it's not like, oh, I gotta press 0, so I might as well just click. Having a properly efficient control group setup or hotkey layout overall is going to help making these actions more complete, and is likely why she's getting to the inefficient habit of clicking the individual engineering base to upgrade. All right, let's continue on. She is running into a hard supply block. At this point in the game, it's really nice. Ooh, we get to see this infestor with the scan. It's really nice to just have an SCV or 2 SCVs constantly cranking out the supply depots and using the idle worker key to know when they're done and just queuing up another one at this point in the game. She might have pulled back though for a little bit to say, oh, okay, I'm very ahead in supply, so I'm gonna chill on the supply depots for a bit. But make sure that whenever you do that, that's really when you run the risk of getting hard supply block like this, where you don't have any supply structures on the way and you realize, oh crap, I'm supply locked. I'm in the middle of this huge attack. So getting into that kind of habit can help you out and get through those sort of situations. Oh, what a nice scan. Expects a counterattack and has a small force over there to deal with it. Sees the flank coming. Oh wait, no, what? No flank. Okay, I was expecting a flank, but oh, there it is. So the infestor is one way, the zergling's the other way, and it looks like it actually worked out pretty good for the zerg. Oh wait, God, no. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. 7 hit points left. Yeah, goes and grabs that. Well played. Well played. The 4th base is down there. We're gonna lose this 4th. We're spending a lot of time looking at this area. Oh, yeah. So definitely a big inefficiency here. Look at all the money we have. And we're going to go back and watch this with whatever ZombieGrub is selecting. We're going to notice that same sort of thing. While the engagement is going on, oh, no, we do have some selection over here of the factory, so we're doing pretty well on that. Maybe it could be a little bit tighter. Let's take a look at how much selection we have.
Ready for dust
Alright,
off.
so we're looking... Oh, that was for the scan. Alright, now we're building. We need to go back further. We need to go back before that flank comes in. Because that's going to be the moment, I think, where the distractions will be. Here comes the flank. We're doing our micro business. The money is skyrocketing. Nice! No, actually we're doing a really great job keeping those production facilities done. It's just that we have a lot of money in the bank. Maybe adding a couple more production facilities, because we're keeping these... Ooh! Here we go. Okay, so maybe have a couple more production facilities on the hotkey. On the control group, rather. So she's doing really good with the ones that are in the control group, so she's building out of pretty much everything. She's not doing any more star port stuff, but she did build a couple extra barracks that she's not building out of, so Forgetting to add those in the control group, she could have been keeping this money a little bit lower, especially considering, I mean, who knows how long these have been out of the control group, could have been building units the whole time. But yeah, really great job continuing to check those production facilities during that battle. Just a little bit more production facilities would be helpful. Maybe a little more target fire on the infestors. But cool stuff overall. Looking pretty solid. We do have a lot of money in the bank. Oh, there we go, there we go. And now we have all 9 in there. Now we have all 9. So adding them into the control group and using the control group to build the add-ons, using the control group to build the units instead of clicking on it, is the more efficient method. Looks like she added some workers into her army there on accident. A little bit of issue with the shift click back when you are playing Terran or Puras. You want to hold shift and click back to the metal patch after you begin building something, so that way when the building is done, you're all set. Moving into some starport play. Fancy business. Getting caught unsieged, a little bit unfortunate. I think she's going to be alright. These Banelings have a different story to tell, though, and they come in and they're going to clean that up pretty much right away. Oh my god, and yeah, I was going to say, just so we leave these medevacs behind again, and a lot of them are going to die because of it. You know, it should be all of them die because of it, I think. But apparently most of the infestors have run out of energy, so our opponent is going to stay nice and safe, try to keep those infestors alive.
You want a piece of me, boy? Who wants some? SCV ready. Gangway coming through.
Oh, that was a little while.
This better be good. We could use some help.
We're actually moving out, taking a scout over there. We get to see that safe come on anytime soon. Ultras, trying to take at least one of them down. Right now is when we want to be taking a look to see if we're producing while this is going on. Let's get actually the tab open. Got Marines and Marauders on the way. No more tanks. Nothing out of the starport.
Add-on.
One Marauder. There we go. Now we have 4 medevacs coming in.
We could use some help here.
Add-on.
We do have a gap.
Mineral
Yeah, we have
field
another
depleted.
big gap in production for our
Mineral
Marine
field
Marauder force, so
depleted.
our macro is slipping a bit. We have a lot of other things to be doing right now. There we go. Now we have Marines and Marauders back in production. We have tanks, we have medevacs, so we have the full gamut of production. This is really what we want to be happening pretty much the whole time. We want all of our production just constantly cranking out, especially when we're in a supply deficit and we have a bank. Definitely no reason to be holding off on our production right now. And there we are. We have 12 Marines, 2 Marauders. And we could be building some things out of the starport, which is really the big advantage of having all of your production in one control group. As you check it, you'll be able to see, okay, I'm not building medevacs right now. Okay, well, I'm not building tanks right now. Okay, all right, etc., etc. Did see a bunch of factories in construction. Let's see if they're all in the control group. Yeah, it looks like we're doing pretty good as far as that is concerned. We got pretty much everything in our control groups. That ought to be, yep, even this. Yeah, all of our starports. Yeah, so we're going 4, 4, and 9. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. We have a little force over here for our flanking broodlords, maybe. A good scan going on.
Mineral field depleted.
Who wants some? I'm in deep. Oh, it's on.
Ready for dust off.
Add-on complete.
Yeah, we do have all of that in there. Actually, wait, do we have?
Base is
Okay,
under
just at
attack.
tech level.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
Actually, a couple of Reapers in production? I haven't seen this before, this late game Reaper. action. There's not a lot of time left in the game, so I don't know if it's going to end up being GG. We're going to find out if that Reaper play was a mistake or a misclick, or is actually a way of putting pressure back on the Zorg. It looks like there's going to be a big push of some sort, and one person is going to emerge the victor. A couple of SCVs as well, sort of interesting. And now we have a big battle. Everything comes in. With our as far as our macro is concerned, we are ahead of our opponent overall. And we actually just took out another base too, so it looks like this is going to be a win for ZombieGrub. From this perspective, I can't tell 100%. We do see the supplies, at least. Nice, we got everything landing. Build. I want to check out this small task. Yeah, okay, so she's just going with the long distance mine, which is probably a smart move. Lowering this depot wall, a little bit of a misstep, but at this point in time, it looks like the game's pretty much won. So that's when those mechanics start to slip off. You're like, oh, I've got the game won. Probably fine. Shouldn't really worry about it. Let's see where those Reapers are at. We do have them still, I think. Oh no, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. She had them on the way and then she canceled them, it looks like. Nothing in production. And the game closes out very nicely. Well done to ZombieGrub. Hopefully, hopefully that has helped some of you with some of your inefficiencies in your turn play, and hopefully ZombieGrub doesn't get too mad at me for pointing out some of her inefficiencies in her play. As usual, thank you all for watching, and feel free to rate, subscribe, comment, and all that kind of other stuff. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know other things you'd like to see, things you think that I can improve on, and stuff like that. Always looking to improve. Thank you very much, and I